terms. Or we just say, no, we're not participating, not do nothing.
Well, I already told the mayor that I would support something, so,
Yeah.
but I'm just one vote, so.
But that's,
But that would be a good compromise.
right,
Yeah.
right, rather than keeping it where.
I was gonna call Jared for help.
Hey, this is a commission meeting.
It should just be break again.
Live and turn it off.
You just said break again.
We are. Hey, I think we're live. You guys ready?
You want me to wait or?
No, let's go ahead and go.
Go ahead and go. Okay. Morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. We'll go ahead and get started with our meeting this morning. We'll start out. Sam's going to start us with a prayer, and then Chanel will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Father in heaven, we thank Thee for this beautiful day. We're grateful for the land in which we live, for the resources we have, and for the blessings that we've received in good weather and moisture. We're grateful for our freedom to worship as we see fit, to have the form of government that we do, and pray that now as we meet, that would bless us with Thy guiding hand, that we can make wise decisions, and that would sustain us in our efforts. We're ever grateful for Thy Son, Jesus Christ, and we offer this prayer in His name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have the notes?
The minutes?
Minutes, sorry. Yep. Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on
April 27th.
April 27th, 2026.
I will, sorry, I got interrupted. I'll move to approve the minutes on what day was that?
April 27th.
April 27th, 2026.
It's been motioned and approved. All those in favor, or I'll second that motion. It's been motioned and approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll go ahead and pay the bills and entertain a motion to do that.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims for payment from April 27th, 2026 to May 10th, 2026.
Second that. It's been motioned and seconded to approve the payment of claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We'll go on to our department reports. We'll begin with Chad in the attorney's office.
Do you guys need to excuse Mike?
Oh, thank you. Commissioner Blake is out of town and is excused for this meeting, but I believe is going to be participating virtually.
Thank you.
All flipped upside down.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to go over some of the activity from January to April. Things have been pretty steady as far as caseload. Total of 651 cases we've received to review, and that includes civil, juvenile, and criminal referrals. About 163 monthly average for the first quarter. Wanted to also give a shout out to Nick, our director from the Children's Justice Center. He took the lead on rounding up and sending a letter out to the residential treatment centers. That's an issue that I know we've all discussed previously. He got some people to come to the table, and we're hoping that more people will come so that we can make some progress in addressing the issues that we've had with those places. But he took the initiative, put a letter out, sent him out, and is getting some feedback. And so I think that's a good thing, and appreciate him taking the lead on that. Also, he put together a little luncheon acknowledging the proclamation that the commission passed, acknowledging April as Child Abuse Awareness Month, specifically the 29th of April as Child Abuse Awareness Day. And it was Nick who really led that effort, put it together. So appreciate him and appreciate the commission for passing that proclamation. And I'm sure you'll talk about that as well a little bit too, but I don't want to steal his thunder. In addition to those things, he's actually a pretty good Uber driver as well. I don't know if you guys heard this story. We went to Alabama, the National Child Abuse Symposium, and our plane had to emergency land in Georgia because of some bad weather. So we had to decide what we were going to do. It was like 3 a.m. Were we going to get a hotel and stay, or what? If we decided to just get an Uber and go from Georgia clear into Alabama. Well, halfway through, not only is there bad weather and limbs of trees in the middle of the highway, the Uber driver was falling asleep.
Oh, man.
And so we made a pit stop and got gas and some drinks. And Nick said, hey, do you want me to drive? And as soon as he finished the sentence, he said, yes. And so he drove the rest of the 3 hours
Oh, that's
to
funny.
Alabama, and our Uber driver was like a lawn chair folded up in the front seat sleeping. So
Oh, that's funny.
Did
he
you get a
saved the day.
discount?
No, we paid the fare. We just were glad to be alive, and Nick saved the day. But yeah. But
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That's a good story.
he's a man of action. We're grateful for him. Just wanted to highlight some of the different caseloads. 47 civil cases. Sam takes the lion's share of those, and he served over 19 different departments throughout the county. Different citizen contacts, grammar requests fulfilled, and Sam is actually engaged in some civil litigation that he is handling that we haven't had to contract out. So that's something I think that's a good use of the resources and in developing that skill set in the county attorney's office, where Sam is handling more of the civil litigation where we can. Juvenile cases have been pretty steady, and our victim advocates have been busy. Jessica Kramer has been assigned 110 cases from January to April. Holly Peterson, 54. And they do a good job. Other than that, just some of the trends. Through March, I didn't get April's all the way, but we've had roughly 50 DUIs, 49, 51 drug offenses, and then 32 assault-related offenses. That's just a snapshot. I didn't extrapolate every single crime category, but sometimes those are the ones I like to watch. Violent crime, drug offenses. Methamphetamine seems to be the most prevalent in the county. That's been, I think, consistent for several decades. We had seen a lot more fentanyl cases, but I think we've seen a drop in that, I think, with border enforcement, which is a good thing. Any questions?
Yeah, I attended a UAC meeting 2 weeks ago, and the counsel for UAC made a statement that I might botch this, but the legislature passed something in this latest session that they were asking the Board of Parolees to extend jail sentences.
Yes.
Familiar with that?
Yeah, matter of fact, so the legislature has added 3 positions to the Sentencing Commission.
Okay, so it's a sentencing commission,
Sentencing
not the Board
Commission.
of Parolees.
Yes, and so 3 of those are prosecutors. One of them's a rural, and I actually was selected to be on that commission as the rural prosecutor for the state. So I will be serving on the Sentencing Commission, and our mandate really is to review the guidelines because, I agree. I've been frustrated with the sentencing guidelines since I've been a prosecutor, and the legislature has echoed that sentiment. Wants to review that and see where we can improve and change the sentencing guidelines.
So what effect do you see that having on populations in our jail system?
Well, I think that the jail sentence, a lot of times you have somebody who's sentenced to a term of jail as a condition of probation. So they're not sentenced to the Utah State Prison, but they're sentenced to some jail time. That's probably going to increase. So I think that they could be staying longer jail sentences. And then prison, I think that more people will be sent to prison as a result of some of these changes. So I think as a matter, as a realistic matter, because of the size of the prison, it was smaller than the prison that they tore down at the Point of the Mountain. So a lot of those state inmates are going to have to contract it out to counties. So I imagine that when we get our jail up and running, we'll take on more state inmates, or we'll at least have the opportunity to do so if we elect to. That is going to be one of the balancing acts, is trying to, do we have space for all the people who will be sent to prison, and how long will they be able to stay there? So these are all the things that they want the commission to look at. But I'm glad that I have a seat at the table to hopefully represent the rural perspective on the commission.
Right.
But yeah, was that Eric Clark? Was he the one?
I don't recall his name. It caught my attention, and so I asked him afterwards, how do you see this playing out? And I said, I'm from Iron County. He said, oh, you guys are in good shape. You're going to be able to help us out and fill the capacity.
We'll have a seat at the table, and I think it'll be a good thing. I wasn't able to attend UAC this year. We had a conflict with the Crime Victims Conference, and I was up there this time, but was in communication with Eric and Carl Holman, who's the attorney for the Statewide Association of Prosecutors. But yeah, I think there's going to be some good changes coming.
Okay. Well, thank you for the clarification on that. He tried to help me understand that, but as I keep running that through my mind, I'm grateful for the clarification. So
yeah, Utah is unique where we have indeterminate sentencing. So, for example, like a second-degree felony has a range of 1 year to 15. 1 to 15 years is the maximum. So the Board of Pardons has a lot of discretion of where somebody will ultimately serve in that guideline, and the sentencing guidelines play a big part of that, of how that formula and that matrix scores. So that's the guidelines is what the legislature has asked that we review and make some changes. So,
very good.
I was going to mention, we look at these statistics and like DUIs and stuff. Our family watched a movie the other night on, I can't even think of the name of it. It was on Angel Studios, but it was it was a true story about a man up north. He had a pregnant wife and I think 4 little kids, and they'd gone to dinner that night and they were going to get ice cream. I don't know if you've seen this movie, but a drunk driver is probably happened 30 years ago. It was a long time ago, but this kid that was just 2 months shy of 18 was driving drunk and hit their car and killed his wife and the infant, pregnant, she was pregnant, and then 2 of his other kids. I mean, lost her, just a tragic story, but man, it brings to life these are real things that are just ruined. And I mean, it was really quite a touching movie. And this man was serving as a bishop in his church at the time, but he ended up not pushing to have that young man tried as an adult. He said, look, I want you to have a life, just clean it up and go on. And he kind of forgave him, but it sure brought it to light, the tragedy of this DUI business.
yeah, absolutely.
What it does to families. So.
Yeah. No, there's too many, and that number is actually, if that is like the lead offense, a lot of times we have cases where maybe it's a more serious offense where it's like a felony drug charge, and then there's a trailing DUI. So sometimes those numbers aren't even as high as they probably are reflected in the reports generated. So, anything else? You look good in that seat. Good. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
We're going to add Uber driver to your
I was going to
responsibilities.
say when we
Job
meet in the fall about budget and things like that, I just want you to remember that Uber driver, party planner, and life-saving man of action are all part of my new job description. So you'll see some new asks as far as what I'm going to be requesting to be paid as a result. CJC, we've been busy still during the third quarter of our grant cycle for the CJC. We completed 78 interviews. We've done 113 to date. During the third quarter, we had 20 medical examinations with a total of 32 to date. Our monthly average for our interviews during 2026 is already up to 27 and a quarter. which is about 2 interviews more per month, just over last year. Our monthly average for medicals is at 6.5 or 6.4 to be exact per month, which is almost 2 interviews more than we saw last year at the same time. Like Chad said, we're working with the residential treatment centers. We have a meeting in 2 weeks with there are 3 managing partners that manage over 15 residential treatment centers. And so just with a meeting of 4 people, we're going to be able to have some good conversation. They did come to our advisory board recently, had some good conversation about providing a little bit of perspective of some legislative changes that caused some of the increase in reporting and things like that. But it's been a productive conversation. I think that it looks like we're going to be able to work together to work at some of those legislative changes to kind of help work on some of the unintended consequences of those changes that happened in the last couple of years. So many of our clients are taking advantage of the therapeutic services that we offer through our grants. In the last quarter, we paid for 112 sessions. As we enter the final quarter of the fiscal year 26 for our VOCA grant, we are about 73% spent on that, and so we'll be able to spend through all of that. Looks like we're going to be able to do everything with that. We'll be submitting an amendment to just change some things around in that grant, but everything should be covered through the end of this year for that grant. All of our quarter 3 reports have been submitted, and everything looks good as far as reimbursement for that. That's all those things go. Like Chad said, we had 6 of us that were able to go to the symposium in Alabama. We did survive. He left out the tornado warning that was happening as we were driving. So at first, we just thought the driver was a bad driver because of the weather, and it turned out he was just falling asleep. So, but I took care of it. We gave him 5 stars. It was a rough night for him. So I'd take about 4.5 of those stars, but let's see. Again, that will be in my budget presentation in a couple months. So, highlights since our last report, like Chad said, we had about 30 people that came to sign the proclamation, and representatives either from government or law enforcement from every town in the county came to that. And so a lot of support for the kids in our county, and I think it's a really important thing to remember and to keep forefront. 2 in every 100 kids in Iron County will come to the CJC this year for an interview. And that's a pretty shocking number when you really think about that. So not all those cases are, substantiated and things like that, but just the fact that we're having that many kids in the CJC shows that child abuse does exist in our county and something that we need to be aware of. So we're grateful for everybody that supported us on that day. We'd like to extend an invitation to everybody. We're going to be holding the Children's Justice Center Carnival at the Main Street Park in Cedar on June 6th from 11 to 1. We have previously during this time done a fun run, but we just haven't had the same interest in the past, so we're just going to get some bounce houses and cook some pancakes and things like that. So just kind of an awareness opportunity to have everybody out there. So. And last thing, I just wanted to highlight all the contributions that we had. Clearway Energy has become a great partner. They've been almost every quarter, they're coming in with a check to help support us, so we're really grateful for their support. And then we had a handful of SU football players that need some service hours, so they came out and picked weeds for us. So it was pretty great to see those guys doing that. So I'm grateful for the support of the community. Any questions?
June 6th, what was the times on that?
11 to 1.
So I started putting that in my calendar, and it pops up a CJC golf tournament on that date.
CJC golf tournament is September 11th.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to play golf afterwards, you could.
September 11th?
Yes, sir.
Is that the?
Yep.
Okay. Let's not repeat last year. That was, I don't ever want to live that day again. Yeah. So 11 to 1. Bounce houses at the park.
Yes, sir.
Got
Okay.
it down.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Victims Advocate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Sheriff's Office Victim Services Program, we've served 200 clients over the last quarter, over the last quarter. Our most frequent victimizations usually remain the same. Domestic violence is always our highest. 51 of those clients were domestic violence related crimes. We saw an uptick in stalking and harassment crimes. So that's 28 of those are from stalking and harassment. And then adult sexual assault, 21, child sexual abuse, 16, and adult physical assault, 16 of those. 10 of those clients had more than one victimization. Sometimes we have things where there's maybe a burglary and an identity theft, or domestic violence, but also protective order violations, something along those lines. So we do see that pretty frequently, where we have clients that have multiple victimizations or repeat victimizations that happen within the same quarter. As far as things that are going on within our program, Savannah Gardner, who's our victim advocate that is housed out of Cedar City Police, she has completed her Community Justice Advocates of Utah legal certificate. So she's now able to provide limited legal advice for clients that are looking at seeking protective orders. So it's been a huge help. I've had that certificate since 2023. Another advocate with Canyon Creek has had that since 2021, I think. And then as of this most recent cohort, Savannah and 2 of Canyon Creek's advocates will be able to do that same thing. So it's very helpful, especially when we're going through the protective order process with clients. We've utilized some of our training funds that we've had from grant funds to attend a couple trainings, so that we're maintaining competent and able to provide the best services we can. Savannah will be heading up to the Children's Justice Center Symposium this week, as well as heading to a conference on crimes against women shortly. So we're using those to make sure we're kept up to date on all the best practices and things like that. Just an example, I like to share just little success stories from some of the stuff that we do. This is one of several, but we were able to assist a chronically ill mother and her young daughter. Her ex-boyfriend, the baby's father, was arrested for DV, and in many situations that is usually they are the main financial provider. So that was a huge stressor. We were able to use some of our grant funds to step in, make sure they had food. Nick at the CJC was able to help us with diapers and baby wipes so that we could get that. Canyon Creek helped us utilize getting food in the home, and then we helped to fix a few things on her camp trailer and vehicle that they were living in, so that she could become a little bit more independent and go somewhere that she would be a little bit safer and have a little more support from family. So that was a huge thing. It's those stories that make it worth continuing to do this work. So we're currently within our budget with the county, so there's no concerns there. We're approaching the end of year 1 of our grants that we currently have. We've utilized the majority of those funds there. In July, that'll renew with the same amounts that we've had this year. So we may be doing some revisions just to make sure we use as much of those funds as we can. Other than that, that's what I've got for this last quarter. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So that's everybody, and we'll go on to commission reports. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Well, I've got a few things. I was gone last commission meeting. I'm on the 5-county behavioral health board, and we generally go to a conference every year called NatCon. It's a national behavioral health conference. It's probably 4,000 or 5,000 people. It was in Denver this year. It's one of my favorite conferences. We go there and we basically, even though we're not clinicians as commissioners over our respective counties, we go there for support, and it's really beneficial. We have the receiving center in St. George. We hit Mike Sherritt and Mike Deal, and then some staff and some clinicians go to this conference. But it seems like over the years that I've attended that, I don't know how to say this politically correct, but it's moved kind of to the left quite a bit. And we tried to. One of my fellow commissioners that I serve with in Washington County, Gil Almquist, he wrote a letter to the director of this organization, which is a big organization in the United States, and said, there wasn't one single workshop or breakout session where they talked about using faith and God in helping with the mentally ill and the health crisis. And he requested that they start adding that to their curriculum, and they did this year. They added 2, and we attended both of them. They were excellent. And so I guess the thing I want to point out there is you can make a difference by speaking up. One notable thing that one of the sessions I went to, there was a black gentleman that used to be a drug dealer. He did a lot of drugs, was in and out of prison, and he's since become a minister in a religion of his. And in their community, I think it was back east somewhere, I can't remember the state, but they take inmates who are released from prison, their church, and they mentor one-on-one with these inmates that come out of jail, and they have reduced the recidivism rate from 22% down to 4% by doing that. It gives the inmates a support network of people to help them, and then they're there to mentor them and help them, and it's just remarkable what faith and bringing God into this mental health crisis we face in America. Because as if the sheriff was here, he'd vouch for this, but one of the challenges we have always faced is oftentimes our jail becomes a mental health center. The hospital doesn't necessarily want them. They may show up there to the emergency room, but then what do? And that's where the receiving center they built in Washington County has been good. Is they can either go to jail or they can go to the receiving center, receive the help they need, and that's been a good thing. But anyway, I just wanted to report on that conference. It was very worthwhile, and it was just we always bring something back that can help our 5-county area in that. But I also attended the Planning Commission this month. It was on, I believe, the 7th, and they had originally talked about discussing the data center, the Pronghorn Development Data Center, 15 miles west of us, and they moved that. I think they ended up moving that, Sam, to January or June, the next June Planning Commission, whatever date that is, first Thursday in June. So it's been moved to the 4th of June. So it's been moved to that date, and they'll talk more about a conditional use permit and the conditions that they'll set. And I wanted to talk about that for just a minute for the record. You read a lot of stuff on the internet about the sky's falling. There's this and that. They're polluting the groundwater. They're using gajillions of gallons of water here and there. And when you look at, that's what the purpose of a conditional use permit is to set conditions for these companies. And if they don't meet the conditions, and one thing that's brought up a lot is water. And this particular data center, and this is, we'll have to trust but verify, but they claim that they'll use 18 to 19 acre feet of water on the initial fill, the initial ramp up of the center, and then that will drop down to 3 to 5 homes worth of water, which is about 3 to 5 acre feet of water. And in the overall scheme of things, yes, we're in a drought. Yes, we have water concerns, but in the overall scheme of things, that's not a lot of water when you compare it to a pivot or other things. And I'm not bashing ag. I'm just saying that would you really compare it to what we use in our homes and in the growth in Iron County? I used an example. We've got a little time, Chair, so I'm going to talk for a minute. But we, in I think it was the previous Planning Commission, Commissioner Tolos asked me to come up and speak a little bit about what I knew, and people were concerned with water, as they should be, and so we've built a lot of recharge basins. I know Parowan's got one going right now, which is exciting for them. And we've done about 7 in the Cedar Valley to recharge water and put it back into the aquifer instead of letting it go out to Quitchpaw and evaporate and go to waste. And so we put those in gravel pits. And when we had a lot of snow on the mountain, there was 2 years in a row, I think it was 22 and 23 or 21, 22, I forget. But In those 2 years, we recharged 3 billion gallons of water into our aquifer. And we throw around million, billion, and trillion dollars a lot of times in when we talk about things. And just to put that in perspective, if you compare that gallons of water with time, if you multiply it, if 12 a million seconds is 12 days, a billion seconds is 30 years, a trillion seconds is 30,000 years. So when you're talking about putting it in perspective, when you're looking at 12 days for a million seconds and 30 years for a billion seconds, we recharged 2 billion gallons into the ground in 2 years. And so, yes, we need to be conscious of our water use, but this data center is looking at a closed loop system. It's like the radiator in your car. I have a truck it just turned 200,000 miles. I don't ever remember adding water to the radiator, ever. Maybe when they've serviced it, they have. Very well could have, but it's the same principle. Once they fill that up, it's mixed with chemicals, glycol, whatever, and it's used. And if it becomes time to change that liquid, it's disposed of properly, or it will be, right, Brett? I mean, that's going to be one of the conditions. We're going to trust but verify. We're going to make sure they do it right. We're not just going to let them dump it on the ground and pollute our aquifer. And so there's a lot of things that are floating around out there that I don't know. It just seems like we need to just reiterate the facts so that people maybe can hopefully understand some of those points. But that's something, and I know that was delayed. I think our county attorney is going to be meeting with Pronghorn Development and talking a little bit more about some of those conditions, and Brett, and for our June meeting. I wanted to also mention this last Planning Commission meeting. There's been some talk about the Central Iron County Water Conservancy District was formed over 20 years ago. At that time, they filed on water rights in the West Desert of Wawa, which is just over the mountain range from Milford to the west. And then over the next mountain range is Pine Valley. It's huge. I mean, you drive out in Pine Valley. For those that have driven through Pine Valley, it takes you half a day to drive through that valley. You could probably put 10 Cedar Valleys in Pine Valley. It's a huge area. And then you have Hamlin Valley. And 20 years ago, the Water District filed on unallocated or unadjudicated water in those valleys. And the main valley was Pine Valley, and they filed on 15,000 acre feet of water. Now there's been some that have come out and said that, and it's been a long haul. I was on the water board for about 14 years. I'm sorry, I was on the water board for about 8 years, and then I've been involved in water for about 14. But it's been a long haul legally with all the research they've done. But they've been going through a EIS with the BLM, an environmental impact study, and that was approved by the BLM recently. We expect there's going to be some pushback with some lawsuits and things that they're going to go through. But that's 15,000 acre feet that we believe will in the end we will be bringing to Iron County to help with the water situation here. And so. 20 years ago, and some say, well, the BLM just approved of the EIS because of this new data center. That's not true. I mean, you're talking 15,000 acre feet versus 19, or when it's full, 3 to 5. So it's not even on the radar. And 20 years ago, when they filed for water out there, data centers weren't a thing. I don't think so. Maybe there was. I don't know. But anyway, I want to kind of clear that misconception up a little bit. I attended, this isn't necessarily county related, it is county, but it's a charity called the Happy Factory that I've been involved with a long time. We had our board meeting this week. They're doing well. They're very healthy financially. But there's a lot of people that are volunteering, and a lot of kids around the world receiving handmade toys, and it's an awesome effort. We had a big jail meeting this last this last Tuesday to evaluate the finances, some of the architectural elements of the jail, and that was a very productive meeting. We had Leighton and Babcock, our architect, down for that. We toured. It's going up. It's going up fast. They're making good progress. We are working on I also sit on the Board of Health, and they issue septic permits among other responsibilities. And within that responsibility, they've had a 5 county-wide water hauling ordinance. And we voted as a board to split that out and let the different counties handle their own water hauling ordinances. And so we're working through some language on that. Sam is working through some of that, so we'll be bringing that to the commission on an agenda at a future date. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So 2 weeks ago, starting out, I attended the UAC meeting down in St. George, Utah Association of Counties, and it started out with a natural resource and public lands meeting. Was able to attend that and hear how things are going there and public lands issues and managing our natural resources. So that was a good opportunity to attend that. Later that week, there was a Public Lands Council, which is a national organization, but they had a meeting in Cedar City for Utah, Arizona, and Nevada, talking about public land issues there and permits on public lands. And I was not able to attend that, but it was very well attended from the reports that I got. And so that was a good opportunity for people to meet on and discuss that. As Paul mentioned, we had the Sheriff's Complex meeting and went through the budget items on that pertaining to that. There was some good discussion and some good honest, open debate and reconciliation on some of the budget items in the Sheriff's Complex. So that was very good to talk through at that. Last Saturday, not this last one, the one before, was there was the plaque reveal at the Veterans Memorial Park in Cedar City, commemorating the Triple Deuce, the 2nd Battalion, the Triple Deuce, and the Battle of. They covered a lot of stuff in that, so it was a really good event. But they covered the Battle of Gap Young, which the Triple Deuce was fought in the Korean War, and then they commemorated the 20-year anniversary of the return of the Triple Deuce from Ramadi. And then they had the members of the Triple Deuce, the active members of that were there in their fatigues and participated in that. So that was a really good event. And then Friday there was an open house at the Tourism Bureau. I was able to briefly attend that towards the end of that celebration and public information availability to promote our tourism in our county and our area. And so that was very well presented by Maria and her staff, and she said it was very well attended. I got there at the very end of that, so it was still a good opportunity. So I'll touch briefly on the exposure, or I shouldn't say the exposure, just the interactions with the data center and what's going on with that. Somehow our emails and phone numbers got published with the Box Elder County individuals or commissioners. Have you had any calls on that or emails on that?
I've had a lot of calls.
I've had some, and Mike's had some, but people wanting to express their interest or concern about the Box Elder data center, so that's been interesting, along with the Pronghorn Development data center here in Iron County. So had some conversations there, and people get very, very emotional quickly, and So you got to be really very, very careful about how we address this. But we get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and the same issues that everybody wants to bring up in this form email that we're receiving as commissioners are the air quality, the water, power use. What else?
Noise.
The noise. Those are all things that we are also concerned about. Those are all things that are being addressed in the conditional use permit. So we need to be sure that we're talking facts and we're using correct data, because we all use data. So, those are, it's an interesting conversation to have. Something that just keeps coming back to mind every time I talk to somebody is we are all, and I say we because I include myself in this, we are all data users. We are all data addicts, every single one of us. Every time we open our phone, every time we use anything electronic, we are demanding data from the open market every single time. And so we're creating this market, and the open market is filling that. And that's where we are with this situation. There are 27 data centers currently operating in the state of Utah. There's one in Iron County already. So we're coexisting with them already. Do we need to be cognizant and vigilant on our water use, on our air quality, on our power use? Absolutely. Absolutely we do. But we can mitigate and manage that through our conditional use permits. And so that's something that we are working with. And Brett, I applaud you and commend you for the abuse that you're taking, I'm sure. You're doing a great job managing that, and kudos to you. So we just
Ken, I was just going to make this point because it just came to mind. When I look through our family stuff, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with my mother and dad and sickness and just trials in our family when I was younger. I think there's a total of about 4 pictures of me when I was little.
Right.
Now I have thousands of pictures on my phone. Take them every day for work, for personal, for fun. It's insane the amount of photos. And those photos, when we say they're stored in the cloud, it's not up in the cloud. It's in a data center building.
Right.
And we all do it. We all use Ring doorbells, or a lot of us do. Maybe not all of us, but I do. I don't know. I mean, I use I use AI more and more. It's a very handy tool. And yes, can it be bad? Sure, it can be bad, just like the computer can be bad. It can be used for evil things, but it can also be good. And there's lots of good things, and that bandwidth and that demand has gone from this to that, and we're just getting started. And so, anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, those are good points. I shouldn't say everything, but so many things, so many conveniences that we use now are data driven. From our streaming service to our mapping. Who carries a paper map in their vehicle anymore? Nobody. That's data. Those are services that we all use every time we open our phone or use an electronic device. And so it needs to be controlled, it needs to be governed, and we will do the best that we can with that. So we'll go ahead and start up commission meeting at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
I don't, I actually do too. Sorry guys, technical difficulties.
You're good.
Yeah.
We don't have the data we need to pull this meeting off.
Yeah.
Maybe I spoke too early when John wasn't, like, we do need him.
Right.
Don't wanna do that.
Oh,
Hey,
look
look at that.
this.
Is it that? It can't be that delayed.
Well, it shouldn't be on this anyways. Should it?
Just a small handful. There hasn't been too many, but it's mostly shouldn't be. And no, they happen. And they just kind of so we're. It's interesting because why is that? Hey, Brian,
Mm-hmm.
why are we seeing those?
What now we got?
So we're going off of these two right now, but why is not showing there? I don't know. We go like that, and then it goes to one. It's completely weird. Screens. It doesn't. Looks lighter on do that, but somebody's gonna sell it. So what else do we do? Click on that display.
Okay, wait, now
We got something going on, don't we? Why would I not hit it? Let's kill it.
okay,
Start it again. And then,
and then Jaggard will.
yeah, and then we'll just merge it together. So kill that, and then I'll come back in.
Part two? Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and hit live. It should.
And it is, like it's live right now.
Okay. Cool.
But my TV screens, they are gone.
Yes, they are. TV's gonna come off of your stuff.
Yeah, but we wanted these TVs working, but I don't think that we're gonna. I,
They get powered off somehow.
and most of the time, if you just, like take something over here, then they'll just fire right up.
Set up good there.
So. And. No. Oh, I have no clue. Like, there's that now. Okay, you guys, we are ready.
Okay.
So do you want me to start in with calling Mike first?
Sure.
I'll let you go ahead, and I'm just going to listen unless, he's just gonna listen, so I don't wanna slow down the process, so just go ahead and start.
Okay. All right, looks like we're ready to go, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for your patience. We'll start out with a public hearing and discussion of possible approval of a proposed zone change to the Iron County zoning map, zone change from A20 to RR20 on approximately 278.91 acres, generally located on the Black Mountain Road in Section 17, T37S, R10W in Cedar City, Utah. Applicant is H2 Family Limited Partnership, presented by Brett.
Good morning, Commissioners. So we're going to have Chanel be moving through the slides for me real quick, but we'll go that first one just to give us a general idea of where it's located. So we are kind of southeast of Cedar City, so we're off of Right Hand Canyon Road and Black Mountain Road. And go to the next one. This will just give us a zoomed in portion of the site. So Black Mountain Road cuts through the very northeast corner of the project site. Again, it's about 279 acres. So the next one, their current zone is agriculture 20 acre, and they are proposing to go to the recreational residential zone. So that visual that you can see there of the property just north of it, that's also RR20. That's the only other RR20 zone in the entire county. So the reason for the request on the zone change is the applicant, the owner, property owner, would like to do a seasonal subdivision. And the only zone in the county that allows for a new seasonal subdivision to be approved is in that RR20 zone. So that's why they're proposing that change from the A20 to the RR20. So just, I guess, a quick overview of Planning Commission. We did have one of the neighboring property owners just to the north that I've had a couple of the sisters contact me, and one of them was actually at the Planning Commission meeting. They spoke after the applicant because we made the applicant aware of what their concerns were. Primarily, they had issues and concerns with, this becoming like a commercial venture where they would build, subdivide the property, turn it into nightly rentals, with all the cabins up there. And the owner was able to let them know that he's in process of creating CC&Rs, that the property has been in their family for, I think he said, like the last 120 years. And he wants it to stay that way. So the CC&Rs would restrict any type of commercial venture or income making revenue off these properties. They want to keep it as a family property. So the
all owner occupied.
All owner occupied, yeah. So the neighbor then actually got up and said, I have no more concerns. You know, our concerns have been addressed. So that was good to hear that.
What is the access to this property?
It's off of Black Mountain Road. So they've actually put in the roads on their property already. And fire's gone up there, looked at them. So the roads in there are actually really good. They used an on-site crusher, I think, to actually crush some of the rock that was up on the site to create the roads for the site.
My only concern is like Cedar Highlands initially was slated as a seasonal subdivision, but now it's become, and I'm fine with it, but it's become year round. But then we as a county get pressure put on us to maintain the road year round, right? And so that's always been an issue. Just so they understand that the county's not on the hook to provide access
Yeah.
in the winter.
That is my concern also.
Yeah. No, and I think they are obviously well aware that it's intended to be seasonal, you know, only accessible when it can be, when there's not snow and rain and all that. So that's it. They at least understand. They know that it's not something where, yeah, hopefully, you know, we'll get seasonal access, you know, just around the corner. And as far as water, I know that's always kind of a big thing too. So they've actually already got a well on site with water running to all of the potential subdivision sites. So they've got that. They've got a pond up there for fire suppression. They're planning on doing an extra 12,000 gallon tank up there for fire suppression. So they're kind of setting themselves up for success as far as having all the infrastructure that they need for a subdivision seasonally. But yeah, any other questions for me? Okay, then we'll have open up public hearing on it then.
Okay, we'll open a public hearing for agenda item number 1. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on item number 1.
The only other thing, I guess, if you want to show that one, Chanel, with just the couple more down. Yeah, so this one just is a reference exhibit, because obviously it's not part of the zone change, but this just shows the proposed layout for their 14-lot subdivision. So the way that it works is they would propose the maximum density subdivision. So what they could get if they were to just slice this into 20-acre lots is 14 lots. And so rather than do 14 20-acre lots, they would propose 14 2-acre lots, which would leave about 250 acres of open space that would be owned in common ownership amongst all the family members. So it helps to keep that area open and preserved. You know, nobody could go in on that other 250 acres and just start building. So it would help keep that preserved. But there was that, and then of course we've got the evaluation criteria that we always go through with the rezones, and then just the findings that were in that packet to the Planning Commission, which you were CC'd to as well. But yeah.
Ready for motion?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll move to approve the proposed zone change, ordinance 2026-10, to the Iron County zoning map, zone change from A20, agriculture 20 acre, to RR-20, residential recreation, on approximately 278.91 acres, generally located on Black Mountain Road in section 17, and the rest of it is listed in the agenda. And this is the H2 Family Limited Partnership.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item number 2 is public hearing, discussion, possible approval of proposed zone change, ordinance 2026-11, to the Iron County zoning map, zone change from RA20 rural agriculture 20 acre to A20 agriculture 20 acre on approximately 346.74 acres, generally located east of Harmony Mountain Ranch subdivision, northwest of Canaraville, near Bumblebee Springs Road, and 7500 West in Cedar City.
So Chanel, if you go back to that first one. One more down.
Sorry.
There we go. All right, so this property is northwest of Canaraville. So we're down at the south end of the county. It is directly to the east of Harmony Mountain Ranch subdivision, if you're familiar with that one. So if you want to jump down to the next one here, it'll just show. So the proposed zone change includes 17 properties, all owned by Linford Nelson. So again, Harmony Mountain Ranch is just to the west of this project site. So we're on the west side of I-15 freeway. We've got Bumblebee Springs Road that kind of bisects the properties there. So the current zoning on them is rural agriculture, 20 acre, as can be seen on this next slide. And then they're proposing to go from that rural agriculture 20 acre to agriculture 20 acre. So just a little bit of history on it. So back in 2016, when the county was doing a lot of changes, there were several pockets around the county where the county changed usually from an A20 zone to an RA20 zone. The intent of that RA20 zone was really just to provide some extra protections for some of the rural agriculture estate kind of areas, because there are more permissive uses. The A20 zone allows for a broader range of uses than RA20. So this property, all these properties were previously A20 in 2016 before the county changed them to RA20. So the owner would just like to propose a rezone back to A20 because they do like the flexibility of more uses that are allowed in that A20 zone. So if we'll go down a couple slides, Chenille. We'll go down one more, yep, to that one. So we did have, we talked to some of the property owners. Raymond Presswich, he owns the property that is adjacent to these lots, just on Bumblebee Springs Road. Some of the concerns that they talked about, and they came to the Planning Commission meeting as well to speak on it, but they just had some concerns with roadways and fencing, things like that, because obviously the road that basically connects these properties, it's not a very good road. And so what people have started to do is, when the weather's poor, the road's in bad condition, they'll drive off the road and on to Raymond's property. So there was just some concerns of things like that, and what the property owner plans to do to improve that roadway, to give better access to these lots. And so there was a good discussion on that at Planning Commission meeting, but that was just some of the concerns that were obviously raised. So that's pretty much, I think, the presentation. But any questions for me?
So what was the determination at the end of that discussion? Are they
well, so you can see on the south side of Bumblebee Springs Road there where that road basically kind of takes a turn. And if I remember correctly, that goes down into kind of a ditch or a gully area. So the plan is the property owner is looking to basically straighten that road out, improve that road. Their intent is to provide, good access, have it be a private road though, but it is a public road by use, so it would have to remain open and accessible to the public. But again, that road, instead of jogging to the west and going down into that ditch, they're proposing and planning just to realign it so that it follows all on Linford's property.
line.
So it would just be straightened out, improved, so that it's in a better condition. And so that, people aren't going off the road onto Raymond's property.
Yeah. All right. So we'll declare a public hearing open for item number 2. Step to the mic and state your name, please.
My name is Steve Young, and I'm a property owner at Harmony Mountain Ranch. Could I show you the piece of property that I own?
Sure.
My wife and I think it's lot number 2. It's in the southeast corner of section 20. The research that I've done, we pulled up online that moving it from RA20 to A20 allows intensive agricultural, i.e. dairies, pig farms, processing, storage. I'd like to know if that's right. because that's what it says on the internet. And I wouldn't be too excited about having a pig farm put in there next to us.
Reasonable.
The second thing would be that it says existing lots, for lots smaller than 20 acres created before August 14th, 2000, both zones may allow standard agricultural or residential use as conditional use. So does that mean that if it was broke up into 5-acre lots or 2-acre lots before August 14th, 2000, that would stand? In other words, I'd like to know where we're at on this piece of ground. Are they 20-acre, one house per 20 acres, or is it something else that is going to be slid under?
Brett, could you come up to the mic and answer a question for me? So,
I have an additional question.
yeah, you can stay. That's fine. Do you have any idea what Linford's plans are with this?
So his plans for it, you mean as far as like with a zone change or just with, so his ultimate
I'm planning to
goal.
put pig farms on it, right?
No, the plan isn't for that. So the main thing, my understanding is he wants to develop these 17 lots, and he wants to create CCNRs, and he wants to sell them as individual
They're
lots.
20 acre.
They're all 20 acre
So
lots.
let me ask you
currently.
this. So we've done a septic density survey for that area. Was that included in that survey?
I imagine it would have been included when they did Canairville and Newcastle.
Because I don't know that he could make those lots smaller with the septic density.
He is not eligible for any
He
sort of
couldn't.
subdivision.
So just to ease your, we did a septic density survey, and that it was deemed that the nitrates are getting such that we can't allow those to be broken up smaller and have that many septic tanks. So that should maybe alleviate some of your concern.
It does.
Okay.
I was the primary purpose, I think, for him wanting to go A20 is as part of developing these lots, he would want to have one of them be used for gravel so that he could use gravel from the site so that he doesn't have to haul it from another location. So, and RA20 does not allow for gravel mine or gravel pit or anything like that. So that's my understanding of why he's looking to change it, is so that he can use the materials from that location to improve the sites rather than having to haul it in from an off-site location. But yeah, the properties are not eligible for subdivision. They are 20-acre lots now. To your question about that date, August 14, 2000, let's say that these were 5-acre lots, but RA 20, as long as they were created in legal lots prior to that date of August 14, 2000, then they're considered legal lots of record. But these are all 20-acre lots, and they're not eligible to be subdivided further.
And any of the, like a hog farm or intensive dairy or any of that would require a conditional use permit and would have to be addressed and those kinds of things. So,
I have another question.
okay.
What about, I guess that you mentioned there would be CCRs eventually, and we would be concerned about Airbnb and people coming in and out and constantly partying or whatever. That would be a concern of us. Now, having said that, I'm a retired farmer from South Central Idaho, and I think he should have the right to do what he wants to do with his property, but we all need to follow rules.
Be good neighbors.
And be good neighbors. And as I would hope to be a good neighbor, I hope that he would be and they would be. So what would be the situation of that ground being able to put in a large home and have Airbnb or that kind of a setting? Is that possible?
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
So as it currently sits in RA20, that would be allowed to basically build a home, rent it out, even have it be short-term rental. So whether it's RA20 or A20, it wouldn't necessarily change any of those provisions or those allowances. So it would be, again, in talking to the property owner, his intent is he wants it to be a very nice neighborhood, because obviously Harmony Mountain Ranch is a very nice subdivision. So the intent is kind of to continue that, have their own CC&Rs. And I could obviously make the owner aware of your concerns as far as, if that's going to be something that he's considered to restrict, or if it's just going to remain open. But
That could be included in the CC&Rs.
could be. But yeah, it's not something that the county restricts, and in either zone it's allowed now.
What are they going to do for water for those lots?
They drilled a well last year.
They did. On which lot? And it'll be run to the rest of them?
It's about right here.
Okay.
And I looked it up. It's set up for 2.34 acre feet a year, and it's 30 gallon a minute. So he's not going to be able to run 20 or 30 homes off of 30 gallons.
30 gallons a minute.
Right.
It may produce more than
Well, and
that,
you
but
can't,
storage-
in our county ordinance, we require 1 acre foot per residence.
Well, and what it could end up being on this is it could just be, because they are already existing legal lots, it could be that, there's multiple wells,
Okay.
that are.
So the others would have
serving the
rights
properties.
to drill wells. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's a really good water producing area though, huh? I mean, 30 gallons a minute is
Well,
not very
there's some
good.
good wells in that area. They're just further down in the valley. Well, quantity-wise, quality-wise, no.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Understanding that, I support what being a good neighbor.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? We'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the proposed zone change ordinance 2026-11 to the Iron County zoning map. Zone change from RA20 rural agriculture 20 acre to A20 agriculture 20 acre on approximately 346.74 acres, generally located east of Harmony Mountain Ranch subdivision, northwest of Canaryville, near Bumblebee Springs Road and 7500 West Cedar City, Utah. And the applicant was Linford Nielsen.
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank
we'll open.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you. We'll open the floor to public comments. Please keep your comments to a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Should not repeat other comments, and only for items that are not on the agenda, and no items related to commission's role as an appeal board. Comments should be directed to the commission. No attacks on other people's character. Seeing none, we'll move on into the agenda. Item number 4 is presentation regarding the 2026 tax exempt status for Cedar City Hospital. Jameson Robinette.
Good morning.
Morning.
It never did come through.
Do I need to introduce myself on the mic for the minutes, or?
Yes, please.
Jameson Robinette, president at Cedar City Hospital. Looks like we're maybe looking at some slides here. If not, I can just ad lib.
It didn't come through.
I'm sorry. Give us a moment. Or you can start and we'll hop in too if you'd like.
You guys want me to just go ahead? I'll just go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. This is our annual report out, just part of the validation process for our tax exempt status as a nonprofit hospital. Reporting out really on our obligations and giving you guys an update of what's going on at the hospital. So let me just kind of fling over here to my slides. And we have already pre-submitted our paperwork, and grateful to you all for approving that for this next year. But let me talk a little bit about, again, when I do these annual presentations, I just quickly go over our 6 requirements to maintain our tax exempt status, and then with that, it usually flows pretty well into us just making sure that our county commissioners are aware of what's going on over at the hospital and what we've got our sights on. So there are 6 requirements that we have every year to meet the tax exempt status, and I know you all are well aware of these, but I'll read through them just for purposes of formality. First is that we must establish that we promote health care, provide financial assistance to the general public, dedicate our property for charitable purposes, and provide hospital care, which I'll speak to in just a moment. Second is 0 of our net earnings or donations benefit individual shareholders or individuals, which we have none of that. 3, admits and treats all people with 0 discrimination, treats everyone regardless of their ability to pay, offers financial assistance, and proves evidence of the open access. 4, we have a governing board is broad and diverse, confers with county board or of equalization at least annually, and maintains an active charity plan. 5, we must establish that our total gift to the community is more than our tax liability. And 6, use administration and central resources in a way that enhance and improve the governing hospital's mission. So just speaking quickly to our community benefit, our 2025 estimated property tax for Cedar City Hospital was $657,749. Our 2025 charity care, which is dollars that we did not bill, is $9,668,332. If you add in our bad debt, which we don't count as far as our accounting purposes as straight charity care, but that's dollars that we did not pursue, that number goes north of $15 million in 2025. If you look at our total community benefit, which includes these numbers as well as our capital improvements, I mentioned our uncollected bad debt, and then all of our which we consider our community activities. That would include, this is not exhaustive, but for reference, our vouchers that we give to the federally qualified health centers for if someone goes to 4 Points or to Family Health Care and they need an MRI or a CT scan, they bring a voucher to us and we provide that at a significantly discounted or free of charge rate. Our investment into the schools with our athletic trainer program, all of our community education we provide. When you sum all of those together, and the vouchers do carry a big weight, that number goes north of $90 million in terms of what we were able to do for our community as a nonprofit hospital. So let me stop there and see if there's any questions just regarding that part of my presentation in terms of our community benefit or our charitable care that we provide.
I don't have any.
Okay. Sorry. And we'll make sure that you have our slides. It's a really good reference just to make sure that you can see the projects we have going on, and I'll speak to our capital improvements that we've invested significantly in. We completed in January, we completed our emergency department expansion project. That's been incredibly well received. Essentially, it doubled the size of our emergency department. It took us from 12 rooms to 21 rooms. We added 3 psych crisis hold rooms, which all 3 are running at about 80% capacity right now. We've seen double-digit increases in volume this year in 2026, and we've seen our wait times go down by about 20% through this expansion. Yeah, go ahead.
So your psych rooms, we're dealing with that on the sheriff's side of it. Talk to me a little bit about that. Somebody comes in there, they sit there for, what's your average wait time? Do they end up in the hospital?
Great question.
You call the sheriff. How do you?
Great question.
Where are we at on that?
Yeah, I mean it's a challenge that we all face. Every time I speak to the sheriff, every time I speak to, any of you individually, I know this comes up. Anytime we speak with the chief of police, it's a challenge we all face. So I think just speaking operationally, whether someone comes in as a personal vehicle visit or whether someone's brought in by, whether someone's brought in by police or the sheriff, they will come, and depending on what they're designated as for a harm to themselves or others, then they'll spend time in our emergency department. It has gotten significantly better this year because additional beds have opened up in the state. Beds have opened up north particularly. So we're seeing not as long of a hold time. Last year we were over 8 hours of a hold waiting for someone to get placement. We're not quite that much. A couple things we've done locally is we've implemented a process where if somebody is safe and we can help them, we'll admit them to the floor, to our medical floor, and they'll be under our supervision while waiting for psychiatric bed placement. So we have some relationships with St. George Hospital and then some other tele services where they'll come, they'll be admitted to our floor, and then they'll have a psych consult while we wait. At least we can get treatment started while we wait for placement.
Are you aware of the treatment or the receiving center in Washington?
Yes, and I think that, and you're talking about the one down at Purgatory?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's a great facility. I've toured it. It's hard to use our resources and public resources for someone to go
Transportation's
down
a
there.
challenge, isn't it?
Yeah,
Patients.
I'm really involved at the state level, speaking with the Utah Hospital Association, with the State Department of Rural Health. There's a Rural Health Transformation Program grant that came out as part of the HR1. And I think, you know, we would love to use it more. It's just really hard. We'd love to see one in Iron County. We have the volumes to satisfy one. The tricky thing really is even if we partnered with the commission and we partnered with the county and found land and were able to get a building stood, the state is not granting currently additional grants to fund it. So the one in Washington County is great, but I just don't think the location works out well for us. I consistently, and hopefully you're all okay with this, I consistently advocate on our behalf that if the state considered expanding that grant and funding more centers as far as the operational dollars go, I mean, I'd love for us to sit down and be able to talk about it, but I don't want to build a building where we can't operationalize it because we don't have the state dollars.
Well, and to me, it'd make far more sense to help you guys with the facility you have existing.
Sure.
With some financial benefit from the state.
Yeah.
Versus build a new building, and staffing is extremely expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So-
we've talked with Southwest Behavioral, and I think we're all just waiting to see if more comes out from the state in regards to that. Other than that, we'll keep these patients safe and do everything we can to get them whatever treatment we can until if they're deemed to have need for admission, then working within our system to get them admitted.
That's an awesome service. I mean, it really is, because they either end up with you or the jail.
Yep.
One of the two.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nowhere else, unless you take them to the receiving center. And
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Well, it's part of our commitment to the community as well as commitment to our patients. So thank you for acknowledging that. We do have in our master plan, which we've approved a master plan for the next 5 to 10 years. We have in our master plan to have an outpatient psychiatric clinic that we'll bring on campus. That's about 3 years out right now. For the sake of me not taking too much time, and now that we have the slides, I'm going to do really quickly 2 more call outs. As I've shared before, there's an organization called the National Rural Health Association, and the National Rural Health Association is but it's a national body that really is the voice for rural health in the country. And every year they deem top 20 hospitals in the country. We have received that again in 2025, and we're the only hospital in the entire nation that's been recognized as a top 20 rural hospital for 11 years running. It's something we're really proud of. We look forward to it every year and hope to keep doing that and receiving that, because it really shows our commitment to the community. Now that I have my slides, I did want to speak to one other thing, and then I'll wrap up with a couple of our other capital projects. As part of our tax exempt status, every 3 years, we must complete what's called a community health needs assessment. And this is an incredibly comprehensive review of our state, our county, our local municipalities, and the community health needs that exists. It's a very robust process, and I've actually got Jordan Merrill from our team who led this process out. And so I was going to have him come up and just speak quickly to the results of what the community health needs assessment determined here in Iron County, because I think it's really important. And then we'll speak to what we're doing about that, and I'll wrap up with capital.
Thanks, Jameson. Chanel, if you could bust through some of these slides about to midway. That way we can pull it up. They can see it here. A couple more. There we go, that one. That's the one we'll be on right now. Up, the one.
Oh, this one.
Yep, that one. That one's good. It looks like at least it downloaded the picture. So after assessing the community, we've determined that these are some of our top priorities, and this is very key to Iron County specifically, the improving behavioral health, invest in social drivers of health, which that includes housing, that includes food insecurities, that includes even cost of living expenses, that social determinants of health, as we've determined that lots of those things affect people's general health, and then increasing access to care. I was looking over some of the results just this last week on Iron County, and these are our top priorities because they are our highest needs, and we will continue to work on those things. And then preventing childhood injury and illness is what is going to be our focus. So these are our priorities. This is what came to the top here in Iron County and throughout the state of Utah. We are a little bit higher for some of these things here in Iron County specifically, especially on the access to care and investing in social drivers of health. And so we're going to be really putting a higher emphasis on that. We also have a higher suicide rate here in Iron County than we do across the rest of the state. And so focusing on that from the hospital standpoint is going to be our key focus.
Do you want to talk to what we're doing with the board on the next slide?
Yep. So this is our implementation strategy. This is one of the implementation strategies for those three things that we're focusing on. For the first few months, we're going to be focusing on improving behavioral health, meaning we are going to increase access, increase awareness, and then strengthen community support networks. We work with our community relations committee that we have at the board, which consists of members of our community, and they help determine what some of the bigger needs are, but then we connect back to the community. So we're really going to focus on addressing mental health, and that means trainings, that means a lot of things that we're going to be providing out to the community, including awareness, and it starts. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we're going to focus on some of those things this upcoming month as well. And so making sure that we're addressing those needs here in Iron County is going to be our top priority. But we also have a board that helps us to stay focused on making sure we're getting to the schools, making sure we're getting to the businesses, making sure we're getting to the right groups within the community to provide this education. And so it's exciting that we're headed in the right direction, that we have a good focus, but we also are backed by good members of the community that help us to stay connected and get to the right groups within the community that we need to address these things, and especially within our construction groups, some of those areas, and within our schools.
We're really excited to partner with the Home Builders Association, the Manufacturers Association, the school district through this committee, and we're going to be providing trainings on, even just recognizing suicidal behaviors, that people can talk about it more in these professions where oftentimes people don't talk about it, and that's a big driver for our suicide that we see here in Iron County. Okay, well, let me wrap up. I kind of got started on our capital, and I'll kind of finish out with it too. So we are excited to invest in the community, and we've got significant dollars. We've got more investment dollars coming into this community in the next 5 years than we've had in the last 20 in forms of capital. We've had a crane on our campus for the first time in 15 years last year, and we're really excited about that. So I mentioned the emergency department. We just finished also a completion of our brand new, we call it a molecular imaging suite. That's a really fancy word for our PET CT scanner, and that's for really advanced oncology scans as part of our cancer center. We're actively designing an expansion of our cancer center. The design will complete the end of this year, and we'll finish the construction next year. That will double the size of the center, and we need it. We're backed up. We're one of the top 5 busiest cancer centers in all of Intermountain Health. We are building a new medical office building and an ambulatory surgery center. Why are those important? Because right now our biggest barrier to recruiting additional healthcare professionals is actually space. Believe it or not, we don't have the clinic space. So this medical office building has about 10 to 12 additional providers across various specialties that are baked into that. And then the surgery center, a big point of feedback that we get from the community is the cost.
Where will
And
that go on your
north
campus?
side of campus. So if you just
North?
follow Main Street, right north of we call it the U building, but our Main Street medical office building, just right there is where that building will go. And the surgery center will be multidisciplinary, low-cost surgical options. We have a lot of patients who leave the community because of that. We have great physicians who can do these things, and we just need the ability to be able to have a low-cost center. That's a big driver for us. Our forever North Star is going to be that we're going to keep people here. We provide great care, and we're matching that with equipment, with space, with providers to keep people here so that they don't have to drive north or south for as many healthcare services as they need. And so we have a lot of other projects that are baked into that are smaller, but those are notable, and we're going to continue to grow because Iron County is growing. Okay, any questions?
The Instacare facility that's out by the bowling alley,
Yes.
is that at capacity? What's
So-
the usage of that?
Great question. That's actually not ours. That's an affiliated clinic. We're very tightly aligned with it. Steve Newman's the physician who runs that. They've gotten busy. I'm sure that they have more capacity. Funny enough, since that has been built, we've also seen our emergency department volumes go up. So that's been constructed, and we haven't seen any emergency department volumes go down either.
So do you have plans to put one on the west side of the valley?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up that question. We own land on the south end of the valley. We just bought land in Enoch, and we're looking at other land on the west end of the valley. Our goal is that nobody will drive further than 10 minutes in Iron County proper, mostly recognizing that no one will drive further than 10 minutes for Instacare, so for urgent care or primary care services. So with those plots of land, we plan to be putting community clinics. Like if you drove down to St. George and saw like the Washington Fields Clinic or the Sunset Clinic that aren't on the campus, that's what we're looking to model after. And we'll actually be having an announcement come up this week in Parowan about some improvements that we're doing in Parowan as well.
Are you, well, so I had a need to find a personal doctor, and everybody I called said, we can't fit you in. How are you addressing that?
This expansion, these buildings that we're building, and we're not waiting until we complete them. We have in our recruitment plan currently, we've got 2 cardiologists, an additional oncologist. We've got 3 primary care physicians and then several advanced practice providers to support it. This medical office building is going to give us room for several of those. We're also looking right now, we're going to end up leasing some additional space because we have 2 more providers who are local, who want to come back home, who are ready to, they're going to complete their training, and we don't want this opportunity to pass them by as well. So we've got very aggressive recruitment plans to backfill these.
So I understand that Dr. Bunker's retiring.
Yep, Dr. Bunker's retiring.
You'll replace him with another doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and that person's already signed. And then Dr. Smith retired last year. We backfilled him with another provider, and then we've added 2 APPs to support as well. But yeah, it's real. The demand for healthcare services is compounded not only by actual physical population growth, but the population is aging, and that population is requiring more healthcare services as well. And we're very confident that's why we're seeing more patients in our emergency department is for things like this.
All right. That's good. I'm not sure whether to take that personal that the population's aging.
I can show you graphs that don't have your name on it. So,
well, and I had a checkup last year, and at the end of the questionnaire I filled out, it had a list of questions, not to make light of it, but it said, are you depressed often? Are you losing lots of friends? Went through all the questions and answered yes to all of them. I'm a politician, so I apologize for the snarky remark. But it's no, but we appreciate what you guys do, and that's good news that you're expanding the medical
Absolutely. Yep.
Because like Ken said, there's becoming
Yeah,
a shortage.
I was unable to find a primary care physician here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we want you guys to hold this accountable to being the hospital and having the access to. So whenever you hear things like that, please let us know. But we're building as fast as we can. We're infusing as much capital as we can, and we're expanding our tele options to make sure that we can overcome that. So
Maybe we need to talk about the tele options. All right.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No, it doesn't say. Don't we usually vote on this?
It was already approved this year.
It was. We already did. Okay, this was just. Thank you. Okay,
I think they came earlier.
It's just a
they just came earlier. I might have been gone that day. Okay.
All right. Agenda item number 5 is discussion and possible approval of potential extension of the existing Bryan Head Community Redevelopment Area. Brett Hauser.
Hello.
Hello.
Up front, I'm going to make the disclaimer that I have lived through several iterations of the acronym for what is now Community Reinvestment Areas. And so if you hear me say RDA or CDA or something, just forgive me. I know you guys have probably lived through some of those iterations as well, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But thanks for allowing me to come present today. As you're aware, we have a CRA in Bryan Head that I included in the materials. I give you a map of roughly where that's at. It's essentially the whole commercial core of Bryan Head running along Highway 143. I know you guys are familiar with CRAs generally. I know in the county they've been used a lot for solar projects, and I'm not familiar with how that works with a solar project. I've been in ski resort communities my entire career, so I'm much more familiar with how they work in a resort community. I believe there's a CRA in downtown Cedar City that you guys are probably familiar with. So that's a lot more analogous to what we're trying to do with the CRA in Bryan Head. We started the CRA in the mid 2000s, and it was. I think it was involved in the I know CRA funds were involved in the Skier Bridge Interconnect, which was a successful concept in Bryan Head, but the timing of that the initiation of that CRA and the fact that it had a floor, an increment floor included in it, and then the market kind of tanked not long after that. Just created some structural problems with it. So we ended up coming back in 2015 or 2016. I think I stood here and we restructured the CRA. Kind of hit the reset button on it, if you will. We reset the base years. We dropped our participation to 60% of the increment would go to the CRA, and the rest would go to our general funds. And as you can see, the increments that have accumulated in the years following, it's looked a lot more like what you would expect a successful CRA to look like, with the increments growing. And so I wanted to highlight some of the projects that we've done with that. Again, in a ski resort community, the projects you do in a CRA might look a little different than they would look in another community. There's kind of a couple ways to approach. I'm sure there's multiple ways, but in my mind, there's two normal ways you might approach a utilization of a CRA in order to spur economic growth. One is you would use the increment to support public infrastructure improvements that create an environment that's hospitable for commercial growth. The second is you may have a specific project, a larger commercial project that you're going to provide a much more targeted support project for. I like to joke. I was raised to believe that RDAs were for CRAs were for parking, and so the first CRA project that I participated in, was the in Park City was the Sweet Alley parking structure, which was meant to provide parking and infrastructure support for the businesses on Main Street in Park City. I actually foresee something similar eventually. This CRA would be used for something very, very similar. Unfortunately, and we had certainly hoped in the last 10 years that we would attract that kind of project, that kind of commercial project, and that it would already be underway. But in the meantime, we've been focusing a lot on sort of that first approach, is a lot of projects that create a hospitable environment for commercial growth, and I think it's been successful so far. So a lot of projects that are going to be recreational in nature, that might not look like economic development in other communities, but in Bryan Head that is economic development. So attracting customers, trying to get visitors who are the customers for the businesses, and trying to get them to extend their stay because there's more activities for them to do, or just the vibe is better or something like that. That and certainly providing infrastructure that helps to extend activities into the shoulder seasons, so that businesses aren't just trying to operate in just the winter and just the thick of summer. They can bleed into those shoulder seasons. So we have started to see some commercial growth. We had our first the mall, what we call the mall in Bryan Head, had an expansion put onto it. I was going to commit the square footage numbers to memory, but I forgot to do that. So, but it was a fairly significant expansion. They added, some ski shop space and restaurant space. It's the largest restaurant space in Bryan Head that I'm aware of, and some more condo stuff on top. But so that was decent commercial expansion. They did a lot of improvements to the building itself. We helped with some RDA funds to again, in my mind, RDAs are for parking, so we helped with the RDA funds to do some parking improvements out front, which were also safety improvements. It was we'd started to have problems with people walking close to the building in the winter, and snow actually falling off. So a couple people actually got temporarily buried. Luckily, nobody was seriously injured, and so we tried to do some improvements there to back the parking off of the building, create a space for this snow to fall, and expand on the other side of the road so that the road wasn't too narrow in the winter. And so we had success with that this last winter. Those are the kinds of things that we can do to help, again, create a good environment for business growth using RDA funds, CRA funds. So you see a list of projects in the material I give you, but I am happy to tell you that while we don't have we're not in the permitting process, or we're not currently underway on that larger commercial project, I have seen drawings. We have had a developer come in and show me drawings for the type of project that we're trying to attract there, which is a commercial village, like commercial skier village, like you would expect to see in the next great ski town, which is what we're aiming to be. So I have seen drawings for that. There's negotiations going on between a developer and the ski resort for that. I would very much hope to see permitting moving forward on that in the next year or two. It just kind of depends on how those negotiations work out. And that would, again, be this commercial village where it's a pedestrian-oriented commercial village. You've got commercial on the bottom, all the normal things you would expect to see: a ski shop, a Starbucks, some restaurants, whatever, little place you can buy Christmas ornaments for your mother-in-law or whoever. Just all the things you would normally expect to see, possibly some additional hotel product in there, and then usually they'll build condo stuff on top just to kind of make the project pencil out. The challenge there is always going to be parking. One of the things that we've done with the RDA money that we've had, with the increment that we've had over the last 10 years, is purchase property so that we can be the RDA CRA can be a player in the game, whether it's property that we could build parking facilities on, or whether it is property that we ultimately trade to have land to build parking facilities on. That helps in two ways. First of all, you could potentially, a project that's having trouble penciling out, you could potentially help them kind of get over the goal line on that by providing some increment money for parking or some other similar public type infrastructure. What was I gonna say? And then secondly, if you're involved, like if you have land actually in the as part of the process, then you can get you kind of have a chip in the game to help you be part of the process of designing this to make it a better product for the public generally. So you can do things like maybe get shuttle stops, placed better in there and that kind of thing. So we're very excited to see that coming up in the near future. One of the benefits of having your CRA still, in place and collecting increment is that it's more attractive for developers if you can sit down at the table with them and say, yeah, the RDA is up and going, CRA is up and going, and we may need to make some adjustments to it, but it's the increment's already rolling there. It's already set up. So CRA expire. I guess this last November was our last collection for the CRA. I'm late. I'm late in getting to the table, but not too late. And so I'd just like to have a conversation around the potential for extending the CRA potentially another 10 years. Checking in with the Bryan Head Town Council. The thought was, the question is, do we want to adjust the percentages that we collect or anything like that? Adjust the base year of the collection, anything? And the council thought, no, everything seems to be working pretty well. We'd like to extend it as is. They're interested in hearing what you guys think about it. The other little piece of this is, in the past, we've never approached the school district about participating in it. I've always been under the impression that's not something that the school district really considers doing. However, in talking with some of the county staff and the Adam Long, the attorney who works with us on CRAs, they suggested we go ahead and approach the school district and see if they'd be interested in participating, and that might kind of change some of the numbers and maybe if the school district participates, maybe the town and the county kind of back off in the percentages that we're putting towards the increment, that kind of thing. We have a meeting set, or we're setting up a meeting with them next week, so I don't have an initial take from the school district if they're interested in participating, but it might be attractive to them because this is growth that doesn't add additional cost side to them, right? Like we're not bringing in new kids for them to service in the school district, so this is just kind of commercial growth. All right, that's everything I think I want to say about it. Any questions, or I guess we're just inviting some initial discussion so we kind of know what direction we're headed.
So I guess my initial thoughts are, do we table this and have you have your conversation with the school district and then we can reapproach that?
I'd be good with that.
Sam, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Is that reasonable?
What's the question?
If we were to table this and they would have their conversation with the school district and see if we could invite them to participate in this and then would lessen the increment for the county. Is that out of...
I think it's good. I think, talking to staff, I know that, the money's always tight on our end and everybody's end, but I don't know if, I think staff supports, talking to them, they support the continuation of the RDA or the CRA, whatever. But probably a lesser percentage, so that probably would be good to go to the school district and see what they will do, and then we can kind of massage that and see where we can land. But I would, I mean, what, you're already a little bit late, so what happens with
If we're
this
later.
gap?
Yeah.
I think just speaking with Adam Long, it sounds like he doesn't seem terribly concerned that we're very late in the process. Like, you can throw these things together pretty quick. We're not talking about changing the project area plan. So it's pretty simple resolution. I think that we'd be looking at adjusting the interlocal agreement essentially is what it is. So as long as we can meet with the school district fairly quickly and get their take, you know, it's you guys meet how often?
Twice a month.
Twice a month. It's possible we could even be back for the next meeting with the school districts, with the school district staff's initial take anyway. So I think if we're on pace to have something done by the end of June, I think we're in relatively good shape. We're trying to line it up with the just the property tax process, but usually that starts coming into focus in late June anyway.
So as far as a date when we could address this issue, our next meeting would actually be Memorial Day.
So it's the 26th. the next day.
So
It'll be
we will
Tuesday.
have the 26th. Okay. That's on the published of our dates already. Okay.
Dang it.
All right, we don't just get a count.
All right.
So just for my own benefit, it sounds like I'm hearing just kind of
I
summarize some of the
mean, I'll be
discussion.
honest with you, staff was, kind of recommending us that we extend it, but maybe go down to like a 20% versus 60. I was prepared today to maybe make a motion of 30. But I think it might be good to table it and go to the school district, see what they could do to help us make up some of that difference, because things are going to be tight this year. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that roughly kind of what you were thinking, Ken?
Yep.
Okay.
I would agree to that.
Okay. Perfect. We'll go see what the school district's thinking, and then we'll get back on the schedule.
We have 10% of the pie. They get about 65. Is it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, something like that.
So.
All right. Well, I appreciate the conversation. If there's no other questions for me, then.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Well, I'll make a motion that we table this until a future meeting where we can get it agendized and rediscuss our participation. So.
I'd second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we will convene as the Iron County Community Development and Renewal Agency. Item number 6 is discussion possible approval of a 2025 annual increment payment for Three Peaks, Cove Mountain 1 and Cove Mountain 2 Community Development Project, presented by David Johnson.
Hello, Commissioners. So this is just the remaining 3 projects from the other ones that were approved a few weeks ago. Myself, Adam Long, our attorney, and staff have seen what they've provided. They've turned in, from what we can tell, have met all the requirements per their original agreement and contract. And so this is simply part of the process to get the approval to then pay those rebate or those incentives. I think can't remember the dates on. They're both 15-year agreements, but the one, I think it's Three Peaks ends in 31, or maybe it's the other way. The Cove ones end in 31, and Three Peaks ends in 2035. But either way, this is just the remainder of the ones that we did a few weeks ago. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the 2025 annual increment payment for Three Peaks, Cove Mountain, and Cove Mountain 2 Community Development Project areas.
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
So now we will reconvene as the Iron County Commission.
Board of Equalization.
Reconvene.
We
Then
need
we
to convene as the
we will
board.
convene as the Board of Equalization. There we go. Item number 7 is discussion, review, and possible approval of charitable property tax exemptions for 2026 tax year.
Hi guys, I'm back. So basically, I just have to get approval for denial for one of our applicants for exemption. After looking over the application a little bit better, speaking with Sam, Luke talked to a few people from the tax commission. We've decided to deny them, basically on the basis that there's a party that is an owner in both entities. So I don't know if I should really say, but it's Iron Ice. They own KJ's Ice Barn. So KJ's Ice Barn is owned by one guy. This guy is also a partner in the Iron Ice, which is the nonprofit, but KJ's Ice Barn is not a nonprofit. So there's kind of a discrepancy there, and we weren't really sure how to go about it. So basically we're denying it, letting the state tell us how to go about it, because it's kind of a weird situation in the first place. So I just need your approval as the Board of Equalization to deny that so that I can send them their denial, get the appeal process rolling if they choose to, and then go from there.
Comments?
Yeah. So a nonprofit organization can own real property and make money from it, but it has to be used for charitable purposes. The problem is that the way in which the money is being made for the nonprofit is through a for-profit business owned by the nonprofit, if that makes sense. So it's more of a pass-through. Maybe that's not even the right way to put it, but in other words, we're seeing through what would otherwise be admissible and saying this is not allowed because of how it's set up. So questions about that?
So they would have to change the way that business is set up?
Yeah,
To qualify.
correct. If you wanted to qualify for the tax exempt status, the nonprofit is operating. That's great, but you can't receive a benefit as a nonprofit from a for-profit business, if that makes sense.
Are salaries being paid then to the operators or something? Or?
I don't know the mechanics of what the profit is, other than that it's operated as.
I mean, I'm pretty familiar with this. It's a great thing. When I was on the city council, we helped them set up shop up at the aquatic center, and they operated up there for, I can't remember how many years, but quite a few. And I think it was a 501c3 or something there. But and they, it's a really a good thing. And I know the owner, or not the owner, but the operator very well. His wife passed away, Carrie. She was very involved. Unfortunately, tragic death there. But I know that it's a great program. I don't know the mechanics of the money, but I do know this, that they help a lot of kids that don't fit in other places, maybe in other sports. They fit good in hockey. Maybe some kids are struggling, and it's really benefited those youth. So I've always been a supporter, but the law's law.
And that's the specific portion. It's under UCA 59-2-1101, where it specifically calls out that no form of financial benefit goes to a private interest. And because of the ownership of the for-profit by the nonprofit, that's where the non-qualification comes into play.
So they just need to reconfigure the way that the business is set up then.
Yeah, even if that means taking him out of it.
Yeah.
Where that can operate independently.
Okay.
And we may deny it and send it, if they appeal it, send it to the state, and the state may see something differently, that they do qualify some way. I'm still relatively new to this, so I'm still trying to learn everything. And there's been low income abatements that I've actually denied, that just because I'm trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And they've given me really good feedback on how to go about certain things. And so I feel like this is a good way for us to make sure we're doing it correctly.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So basically, our motion needs to be
Approve the denial.
okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the denial of the charitable property tax exemption for 2026 tax year to be reviewed by the state of Utah. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, so we'll reconvene as the Iron County Commission and go to item number 8, is personnel. Jennifer.
Thank you. Good morning. In the sheriff's office, Karsten Mast was selected for the most recent competitive interview and selection process to backfill the vacant full-time Deputy 1 position, effective May 11th, 2026. And that's all I have for today.
Wow, that's short.
It's impressive.
I know.
Okay, well, I'll move.
Different next time, but
I'm assuming that's a good thing that that's all you had today.
it's a good thing for a minute.
I'll move to approve under number 8, subsection 1A, request for approval of new hire Carson Mast as full-time Deputy 1, backfill a vacant position.
Second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now we'll move on to county boards. And in the county planning commission, we will appoint planning commission board member Kyle Christensen on the planning commission.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Do I sign both these?
Yeah, there's a spot for your signature on both of those. That will conclude our meeting. Thank you for attending.